Construction for the UFC fight on the White House South Lawn has begun. You'll notice behind me what UFC is calling the Claw, a massive lighting grid which will go over the octagon where the fight will take place.
What are your thoughts on the UFC 250 construction happening on the White House lawn?
It's definitely interesting to see. It looks a little bit out of place. It's a little weird.
The White House lawn belongs to the country, and therefore putting something that's essentially for the current incumbent's birthday party is not right, and that it's part of what seems to be like turning the city as a tourist here into a building site.
I know what we're all thinking, right? The one thing America needs at this moment, while a war is going on and affordability crisis is here and rising gas prices across the board, is an octagon on the South Lawn. Cage fight at the White House for Trump's birthday. I mean, just take a second here and imagine you were in a coma before 2016 and woke up to that sentence. It's just madness. But images have been circulating online as construction began on the White House South Lawn for a UFC event called, quote, The Claw. The event is scheduled for June 14th, coinciding with Trump's 80th birthday. Yes, 80 years of age, but at least he's not acting it, right?
People, they are selling oil in the market at market rates. The money's going to an account in the United States, controlled and monitored by Treasury, audited by KPMG. And it's for the first time ever, the money's...
The president has severe daytime somnolence. He falls asleep very often. He's fallen asleep in the Oval Office on multiple occasions with people talking to him in the cabinet room. And there was concern yesterday that he might have fallen asleep at Arlington National Cemetery during Memorial Day observances.
The thing is, you may have noticed a certain someone appearing on, well, almost every outlet that will have him on to discuss and, in my opinion, defend the need for the fight. And that's Dana White. As Yahoo Sports had framed it in their headline, as the White House UFC event nears, White is doing what he does best, selling the event and ultimately selling Trump. Now, I'll spare you his interviews and just give you the cliff notes. The man who spoke at the past 3 RNC conventions claims that he's not political. Anyway,
I mean, you can make anything overly political if you want to, but that is not our relationship. And even when I've spoke at these conventions or rallies that he did a rally at MSG that I spoke at. You never hear me talk politically. You never hear me say anything left, right, this, that. I'm a right down the middle, common sense. That's me.
The reason you're seeing him selling this event, I think, has a lot to do with the timing of it. The country's in the middle of a war with Iran, a war that has had drastic repercussions both overseas and at home. Reuters have reported that negotiations remain unresolved with the US and Iran still divided over the Strait of Hormuz, the US naval blockade and nuclear issues. The Strait of Hormuz, which Iran did not possess before Trump decided to escalate this conflict.
The point here is dealing with the Straits of Hormuz. Certainly, this is a prize that Iran does not want to give up. And what do I mean by that? It was the vehicle they used to get a ceasefire when they took control of it. They have never, ever had control of the Straits of Hormuz before. They will likely open it, but what they want to do is maintain authority over it. And they are claiming right now that this is their water and Oman's waterway, and therefore they have territorial control over it.
But to that point, if that's all we get is the Strait open, then we'd be back to where we started before we started the conflict. So exactly. You have to get the enriched uranium. You have to get a deal that includes removing that aspect of the nuclear ambitions. Otherwise, I don't know if you can walk away and say we have a win. It feels like we're back to square one. Yeah. So I think that's going to be an important component. We know the president is very, very strict on that point. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. So I think that any deal is going to include that. I don't think it's going to be enough just for the Strait.
Reuters have reported that 66% of Americans want the US to quickly end its involvement in the Iran war, even if Trump's stated objectives are not yet achieved. 60% disapprove of US military strikes on Iran. So Americans are basically saying, hey, we should end this war. Gas is outrageous and we can't even afford groceries. Meanwhile, the Trump administration, they're saying, well, what if we put a cage on the lawn next to the ballroom that I want to build while also shelling out nearly $2 billion to help my allies?
Iran war, the White House ballroom, security for the White House ballroom, immigration enforcement, Trump Arch, returning the pool, the reflecting pool renovation, slush fund for crooks, and the farm bill. How do we pay for all this?
You're making everything unaffordable. We can't afford gas. We can't afford health care. We can't afford things here in Norfolk while you guys are lining your pockets within the presidency, within Congress. What are you guys going to do to regulate this and actually follow laws?
I mean, the priorities in this administration are just outright insane. And more Americans are waking up to that very reality that they just don't care that much about you. Fox News poll found that 77% of voters say the economy is in bad shape, with only 23% rating it positively. That same Fox poll found that 58% say the cost of living is their top economic concern.
Back home, the average price of gas is now above $4 in every single state. And just 5 months ahead of the midterms, new Fox polling shows 58% of respondents say the cost of living is their top economic worry. That's up 8 points from February. And 71% disapprove of the president's performance on the economy.
We got to bring this back down to earth and let's talk about the facts on the ground, which is not that Democrats are spiraling, but that we have, according to the latest polling the last 2 days, Quinnipiac and the New York Times, a 10-plus point advantage on the generic ballot. President Trump is at a 34% approval rating in the Quinnipiac poll, and he's underwater 18 points with independents.
And listen, akin to the ballroom conversation, right? Even if the UFC or private sponsors are covering parts of this event, the optics are still pretty brutal because the White House is public property. Security is public. Planning is public. Traffic management is public. Government attention is public. And the presidency's time and symbolism, they're public. At a moment when Americans are asking for relief, Trump is offering what he always seems to offer at times of need: spectacle and nothing else.
What are your thoughts on the UFC 250 construction happening on the White House lawn?
It's definitely interesting to see. It looks a little bit out of place. I'm not personally a UFC fan, so it doesn't do much for me. If it was a baseball game there, it'd be pretty cool to me, but UFC doesn't really get me too excited, so it's a little weird.
The White House lawn belongs to the country. And therefore putting something that's essentially for the current incumbent's birthday party is not right, and that it's part of what seems to be like turning the city as a tourist here into a building site.
It's really impressive. Do you know when the event is actually happening?
I think it's July 4th. That's what I've understood it to be.
It's actually June 14th. You also know what happens on that day as well?
June 14th. No.
It's actually President Trump's birthday.
I had heard that. I thought that was kind of a fake news story, but I guess that is true.
And you mentioned before that it's the president's birthday. So what is your thought with the date overlapping with the fight?
Well, it seems to be the reason for the fight, and why put it all over the lawn? And it's taking months, as you can see, as I'm imagining, for it to be set up, and it's just messing up the place.
I think it could be on purpose. So it's a nice present for him if he thinks it's good for him. So why not enjoying it?
I have heard that was the correlation, but I thought this was more of a 4th of July thing. So interesting. Okay.
What are your thoughts also about the ballroom being built on the White House lawn?
Yeah, that's pretty controversial. I mean, it's not the first time, is it? The White House has been, shall we say, redone. I think the question about the ballroom is more a question of the taste of it. But it's, again, if the White House belongs to the state, surely the state should have some say in it. And from what I understand, the Congress has the questions have been ducked about it, and that it's just gone on ahead. And that can't be right either.
Are you going to be tuning in, watching the match?
No.
No, I won't be. I'm not a wrestling fan, and I won't be here anyway.
Would you be purchasing tickets or tuning in to the event?
No, I wouldn't. UFC doesn't do it for me. So even if I had free tickets, I wouldn't want to go.
Keep in mind the same people who are out here making excuses for this event on the White House lawn were outraged when Barack Obama turned a tennis court into a basketball court. I mean, the hypocrisy is just so rife. This event, it fits a larger pattern regarding how Trump mistreats the White House. He wants to turn it into his very own Mar-a-Lago. The UFC arena is part of a broader set of Trump-driven construction and spectacle projects, including a $400 million ballroom that just seems to be going up in price, renovations to Lafayette Square, repainting of the reflecting pool, and plans for an Independence Arch. I mean, he's determined to leave his tacky mark on what was once one of the most revered landmarks in the country. And Americans, they are tired of seeing money, time, and institutional energy spent on spectacle while their own lives feel more expensive and unstable.
Iran war, the White House ballroom, security for the White House ballroom, immigration enforcement, Trump arch, returning the pool, the reflecting pool renovation, slush fund for crooks, and the farm bill. How do we pay for all this?
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.